Hi, my name is Shaye. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. I'm still getting used to saying welcome to my YouTube channel. It's kind of surreal considering I've been on YouTube watching people do this for like years. But welcome. Um, this channel is, I have to do an intro every time apparently, so I'm going to try to make it brief. This channel is a hobby for me. It's where I go to allow myself a space to create. I'm telling short stories on here. They are mainly for entertainment purposes to make you laugh. It's not anything heavy, and woven in the humor are some life lessons I've learned along the way, which, take what you want, leave what you won't. And yeah, this is just helping me tap into a creative side that I haven't utilized in forever. And like I said, it makes me laugh, so I figure I share, see if it makes you laugh too. Um, today is today's it's been a long day, but I got inspired to record, so I'm learning when I feel that I should just go ahead and record. I am still working on moderation, so we're not doing every day. I haven't figured out a schedule yet, but this feels right for today. I'm also I have to repeat some things because I'm learning some of y'all don't watch the whole thing. You just start where you are, which is fine. It's fine. But if you started from the beginning and worked your way back, some of these references will make sense if you were curious. I said in one of the videos that I'm recently tapping into my creative energy, and I'm learning that it's chaotic. And it is pretty intense because it's not a muscle I've utilized in my entire life. I've lived this life for 42 years, and I literally just found out not too long ago that I had an ounce of creativity in me. So it tends to be an intense feeling when I decide to intentionally create, and it just takes a while for my mind and body to ride out the wave. We're in the trying to ride out the wave space. So I'm getting bouts of creativity, but it's hard to sleep. Hence my cup of tea. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about one of my least favorite words that people utilize a lot in the English dictionary, and it's perception. It is perception. Perception is one of those things that if you've ever been in the workplace, if you've ever been in school, heck, if you've just ever been around as a adult, you've heard people talk about perception. It's one of those things that people literally build their whole life around perception. And I'm not sitting here saying that I don't care about what anyone perceives about me. No, it's my least favorite word because I think oftentimes it is too heavily weighted in our life decisions. And I'll talk through how it's impacted me. So, for example, growing up as a young girl in Lagos, Nigeria, I'm Nigerian. I wasn't the most girly girl. You probably gathered that if you've been paying attention to how I've done these stories and also how I present, right? I just wasn't the most girly girl. It doesn't mean I can't do girly things. I mean, I'll put on a lipstick. I can't beat my face because my face is sensitive. However, I just wasn't like the frills and the flowers, and that's wasn't my vibe. I tried it for a while. I tried it when that era was trending in my teens, I believe. It just wasn't my vibe. But growing up, I kind of knew that early on. So I gravitated towards the shorts and the soccer and, like the things that would be deemed more boyish. And I remember from early age, well-meaning adults cautioning me, like, Shaye, girls don't do that. Girls don't play soccer with boys. Shaye, you have to wear dresses. That's what girls do. And you have to tie a bow behind you. And I'm not knocking any of that. I get why that's done. But unfortunately, for a girl like me, who honestly, she's one to roll in the dirt. She just want to have a little fun. The dress wasn't going to stay clean for long, It kind of limited my ability to play, because I struggle to sit in like the dresses properly. It never really worked for me, right? So as a little girl, I already had that. Again, well meaning adults. I'm not blaming anyone. My life is fine. I'm just saying, implanted their ideas of what the perception of a girl is in me early on. And that started a whole domino effect my whole life of being hyper aware of how I present as a girl. And again, I'm not saying life was bad, but I do think part of what you're watching in this series, me being 42 and finally being able to realize, hey, I can story tell, I can do some things, and I'm still learning myself. It took so long because it kind of started with that seed planting early on. So, like I said, perception is not my favorite word in the world, but it didn't just stop at childhood, right? So when you move on to later in life, I would say, even in adulthood, let's say when I got to the workplace, for example, let's even fast forward to that. I remember I'm always the girl, right? So like I said, my work style is very much, bull in the china shop. I'm gonna make a mess, but I'm very impactful. I'm very good in settings where if there is big change or transition or you need to make a big shift, throw me in. I remember, you know how you do those workplace personality tests? I did one of those and I remember I was tested as a catalyst. Like, I am good for initiating change. And the flip side of that, if we're being honest, every personality, if you've ever done those tests, they got a flip. They got a side they got to work on. While I'm great with change, I'm not great with steady state. So once you normalize things and you got your routine and it's the same every month, I get bored. So that's the flip side of my personality trait. But if you need to make a mess, change things up, throw me in there. That's where I shine, right? So that being said, so some of my personality trait aligns with that in that I come in, I will ask questions, I will disrupt the process a bit, but it's all intended to land somewhere where change needs to occur. But the way I go about it, and again, the way I present, you probably caught that with the hair color and the way I dress. It's not subtle. That's not subtle. I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna ask the questions. I'm gonna challenge the notions. I'm gonna say the thing everyone's thinking, but you probably don't want to say out loud. And oftentimes when I've done that in the workplace, yeah, the perception thing popped up again. It popped up in multiple places where you're having conversations about other people's perception of you. And what's so challenging about hearing about perception is you can't really defend someone else's lens, you know? So it's like I'm sitting here minding my business. You telling me that the way you see me is off. I don't have your lenses. I can't see through your eyes, you know? And even if I could, why am I confined to that? You know? And it happened a lot. And it's so funny because people will come looking for me specifically because of my attributes and trait. But once I was on the ground performing, it's like the perception. That's what you came to look for. So I'm a catalyst. Throw me in there. I'm gonna start a fire. That's the point, you know? So in the workplace, perception didn't bode so well for me. And I'm not gonna go into detail, but there were times it really led into very serious consequences for me because people's perception of me was off. And as I said in previous videos, because I had this side of my personality that I was suppressing, and that, oftentimes required me to silence myself, or if I was upset, I couldn't express it. Even in spite of me doing that, there were moments where it would sneak out. And oftentimes it's in like high conflict, high stress environments, and that would pop out. And I'm not even like full on, like they didn't admit the full on version of me y'all met a couple of videos ago. And even that will cause issues for me. So again, why I'm not a fan of perception. And the last example I have is in romantic relationships. Girls, we know, those of us that are in the streets, because yes, I'm still in the streets. We're not going to talk about that today. But those of us who are seasoned veterans in these streets, we know what the perception in dating is of, eligible women who are seeking a certain type of suitor, and how we have to present to be palatable to certain people. And I have struggled with that in dating. Girl, Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here going, oh, I can't find somebody. That's not it. It's because, again, when the programming starts from young, of this is how a girl behaves, this is what a girl does, this is how you behave in this setting, it permeates everywhere in your life. So in romantic relationships specifically, I'd find myself on that first, when you're just getting to know each other and you're like, hey, I think I like you. I think you might like me too. When you're at that stage, um, you don't meet all of me. You don't meet this. You think if they met this, they would have date number. It scares people, right? So you meet the nice, quiet, shy, that girl. You meet that girl, the girl who struggles to make eye contact with you. You meet that girl. And I can laugh about it now, guys, because like I said, I've been to therapy, so I know my problems. I'm here to laugh about it. You could be perfect in your life. It's fine. um, so they meet that girl. But that girl can't hang around for long. Like, at some point you're gonna piss me off. At some point I'm gonna be hungry, you know? At some point I'm gonna be stressed. And you gotta meet the other components of me, and that's where the problem starts. Because those variations of me don't match the perception, either the perception I've given on the onset or the perception that society have built for people in terms of how a woman should present, how a woman should behave in certain settings. So like I said at the start of this thing, perception is my least favorite word. I'm not saying there's no use for it in the English dictionary, but I think it could create a whole lot of unnecessary issues and limit people and confine people to places and circumstances that aren't ideal for them because they're caught up in someone else's lens of you. Not even your lens of you. Someone else's lens of you, which their lens could be dirtied with God knows what they went through in life. But suddenly that's what you live your life by. So something to consider. Like I said, I ain't no expert. These videos are cathartic. I'm talking. It's on the fly. Plus, I want to talk about my least favorite word right now, which was perception. All right, I gotta go. I'm still working on, regulating all of this stuff. So I gotta manage myself and take care of myself properly. But I had to get that one out. I hope you guys are having a lovely week. Like I said, I don't have a schedule yet. We'll see when the next inspiration comes and then we'll drop it. All right, bye.